Our teachers used to, I'm talking about late 50s and early 60s. Yes, what good work you have done today, you write a diary. Where you see, okay, somebody is, we used to often, sometimes struggle, what do we write and all. Some individual who is, let us say, handicapped or is suffering, you have helped in some way. Sometimes even there is a sick dog and you have removed and you have done something for that. Sometimes just a young, very small child, a bird has fallen. Remove the bird and keep it and try to give some water and all, you've done it. Now you develop it as a sanskar, as a culture. Now community service, when I hear now, everything becomes a program like a machine. All students get ready, today is a community service day, tomorrow is a community service day, you all come together, we'll all go and do it. If you are doing it, then are you asking a question, the impact of it? If you are doing community service, then are you selecting a village? Let us say if it is a village or a street. Are you visiting there again and again? Or you have visited just once? If you are what impact you are creating? Community service is basically you are relating yourself with the rest others. This relating with the rest is not with a sense of condescension that I am doing a great service or great thing. It is my duty to help a fellow being in distress or in need is my duty. I don't have to. Mahatma Gandhi used to sing a very favorite prayer. His prayer was, he used to say, Vaishnav jan to tene kahiye jo pir paraye jane ne par dukhe upkar kare par man abhiman na ane. I mean, I'm sure you may not all follow, but what he said is, whether it comes from within, how to develop that among the students, that yes, service to others, in your house, in my own house, suppose in my neighborhood there is something which is not okay and something I can do about it. Can I do it? So I think it's a larger question, ma'am. I will not get to. I will take last question. You were asking something, you were not allowed. So I think I will take permission from you. I will allow one. Huh? Look, this question has been asked to me by some very young students. Very young student, one was 6th, 7th class student. And I tell you, I will say again, that my initial inspiration in my life was my mother. Because my childhood, I came from a very, very rural family. I'm a rural background. I have often mentioned in the past also that I saw electricity only after I went to college. No road, 8 kilometers per day walking one way to the school, all these things. But I saw my mother so hardworking that whenever I used to sit for my study and all, and sometimes I used to feel, enough now, I'm feeling tired. I always remember, look, if she at that age, of course I am the youngest, so if she can work so hard, I have no business to feel tired. So my initial inspiration was my mother. And later on, as you grow in life, you start learning from so many people. We all learn from many, many others. Some are visible and known, some are not known, but they have influenced you. They have taught you something. If you pause and recall, you will say, okay, that person or that stranger has taught you something which has had deep influence on your life. As far as it comes to teachers, in my school, the biggest influence I had on my overall is my teacher again. One teacher I still admire. Of course, he is not there because even while I was service, still he was alive till about nearly 1.5 decades back. Unfortunately, we lost him. I used to go to my village. I used to touch his feet because this person and he was my Sanskrit teacher, by the way, but very evolved, very evolved. He used to inspire, he used to tell stories, and what a great person, what a great, indelible mark on my side. Whenever I think of an ideal teacher, I always think of him, that comes automatically to mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We now humbly request the Honorable Governor to deliver the Chief Guest Address.
Respected Dr. Deepa, Dr. Bhavani Sankar, all the teachers, senior and not so senior, all present here. The senior teachers whom I had the privilege to felicitate, all my friends from the media, my warmest greetings and best wishes to all of you on this special, auspicious day. The day we celebrate, this is the birthday of one of the greatest teachers, Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, a person who exudes, who was a philosopher par excellence, teacher par excellence, who understood our country, the ethos, the values. In honor of his day, we are observing this day. If in my childhood, if we had thought of somebody would have said that you observe a teacher day, perhaps we would have felt very, what is Teacher's Day? Because our teachers were so embedded in our life that there was hardly a day when we were away from teacher. Over the period, what has happened is the modernization has made teaching a business, a transaction. And the relation between teachers and the taught is that of a transaction. And that has actually taken away the soul, the very soul of what we meant in our country meant by teachers, whom we call guru. We often say that teachers, they shape the society. They are our future makers. But the fact is that, these are all understatement. This country itself was built by teachers. What is Bharat? Unfortunately, our system of education, we moved away so much that we start thinking in terms of essentially European thinking, European ideas and ideologies, where you will start looking at every individual as sovereign and interaction as a contract, as a transaction. No. When I say that teachers, this country, Bharat, was built by teachers, I mean, how this country came. Since I was talking to you there, now I find this is an obstruction. Anyway, nevertheless, how this country emerged. Some people say that, no. In the course of my life, there are many people who ask me, tell me, Mr. Ravi, who was the ruler who ruled the whole country at one point of time? Before the British, and even during the British, of course, they were princely states. Now, defining a country in terms of ruler, that is an European concept. You know, a student of political science will tell you, and you are all teachers, you know it, that modern state is defined in terms of 4 ingredients. Land, a defined territory. The territory is populated, and there is a government to govern that population over that territory, and that government is sovereign. These are the 4 attributes of a modern state. It has originated from Europe. If you take that definition, Bharat was not. Bharat was never ever ruled by one ruler. Multiple rulers. And yet, this country, this Rashtra Bharat, emerged. How? What was the system? How come? How come when you have right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari and Kutch to Kamrup, how our societies, our country, it came together and it lived together despite many kingdoms, many kings. When my grandmother came from rural areas of Bihar to Rameswaram about 120 years back, she passed through many kingdoms. But she knew that Rameswaram belonged to her and belonged to everyone, all those who believed in it. So was all the Tirthas. Rameswaram did not belong to Raja of Ramnad. It belonged to entire Bharatvarsh. The local kings were guardians to take care, caretaker. This is the case with all. Kashi didn't belong to Kashi Naresh. It belonged to all. So despite all these kings and kingdoms, the country was one where people kept moving from one end to the other, not only for Tirtha, but even for education. Imagine, 1500 years ago, a Pallava prince, Mavalapuram, 1500 years ago, he moves from, when he was anointed to be the king, he refused. And he moved with about 500, being a prince, 500 of his people, went to Nalanda. Imagine, more than 2,400 kilometers, today's definition. He went, studied. He passed through many kingdoms, unobstructed. In fact, they were centers to facilitate these movements of people. He went, he studied. He taught, he became Acharya. He was Christian, Bodhidharma. He came. And from here he went by sea route to China and introduced Buddhist philosophy, Buddhist Bauddha Mata, Bauddha Sampradaya, Bauddha Dharma. Now imagine from here going to that place. Nobody stopped. Nobody said, you are coming to a different country. No. Because here they knew that place, Nalanda, was mine as well. About 600 years ago, there were many people, even Adi Sankaracharya. Imagine how long back. He traveled all over. Nobody stopped him. You are coming to which place? Because society welcomed, people welcomed. 600 years ago, from Kamrup, which is called Assam, Guwahati today, a great person, Mahapurush Shankar Dev, he traveled all the way, he came to Rameswaram. Rameswaram was a seat of learning. He studied there. He came to Kanchi, he studied there. He came to Kashi, he studied there. Went back to Kamrup and composed, the first poem he composed was Dhanya Dhanya Bharat Bhumi. This Bharat cannot be understood in terms of a modern political state. It is a Rashtra. And Rashtra is much beyond nation. Nation, there is no equivalent word of, these terms, political vocabulary, about this state, nation. These are European concepts. And even those who have defined this, they have just tried to define it. They are struggling. Those of you of political science background would be knowing the father of all these vocabulary, these words, expressions, Harold Lasky, London School of Economics, several hundred years ago. He tried to define nation. Struggling. If you take his own definition, UK is not a nation. No country in the world is a nation. Bharat is a Rashtra. And how Rashtra came? Bharat as a Rashtra, with all these different diversities, all these languages, cuisines, customs, costumes, regions, with all these, I don't think there is any country in the world which embraces as many diversities as we do, as Bharat does. And yet, this was one. Imagine, even today, at the tri-junction of Burma, what is called Myanmar today, India and China, there is a place, Parasuram Kund. Thousands of people from all over the country, they go every year on Makar Sankranti day to, go there. How? Now, how this kinship, how this bonding emerged. It emerged because of our rishis who were teachers. Rashtra, Utpatti, origin of Rashtra. Our scripture, Rigveda talks, Bhadram ikshanti rishya. Bhadram ikshanti rishya. Swavida tapo diksham upanishedu ragra. Tato rashtram balamojasya jatam. Bhadram ikshanti rishya. Rishis with lok kalyan, benefit, human, all, welfare of all. Such rishis, equipped with Swavida, Atmagyan. And what is Atmagyan? That Mama Atma Sarva Bhuta Atma. Every being is mine. The divine is all in one, is manifest in all. All the differences are apparent. Such rishis, such teachers, equipped with Atmagyan, their tap and diksha, their hard work, very, very hard work, through that, this Rashtram, Tato Rashtram Balam Ojasya Jatam. This strong and Ojasvi Rashtra emerges out of that. This Bharat is a creation of our teachers who are rishis. They spread the light of oneness of creation. We are all. When we say here, Yadu Mure Yavarum Kelir, there it says Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. This is essence of that. Mama Atma Sarva Bhutatma. Hardly today is 5th of September. 5th of October we have Valalar's 201st anniversary. Vardiya Peri Kandapodelam Vardinen. Imagine. This is Bharatiya. This is Bharatiya essence. This is the knowledge, this is the light which our rishis have spread all over and Bharat emerged. Even when our constitution, I think many of you would be teaching constitution in your schools and that we teach in the law colleges and all. Some of them are not aware that when our constitution was drafted and when it was presented before the Constituent Assembly, the drafting committee presented it. Majority of the speakers said we don't accept this constitution because this constitution doesn't have Bharat. It has fundamental rights which every individual must have it. Fine, good. It has the states and union. Fine, perfect. Division of power, right. Collection of taxes, distribution of taxes, adjudication of conflict, you have judiciary. It is a space neutral. It can be put any part of the world. Where is Bharat in it? Of the 32 speakers, 29 of them rejected this constitution. It is not acceptable. And then they realized Bharat has to be brought in. And so at that point of time, because they had running short of time, they commissioned great artist Nandalal Bose of Vishwabharati Shantiniketan, our Gurudev Tagore, his team to make a pictorial representation of evolution of Bharat. And that they did a wonderful work. They did the pictorial representation at different stages of evolution of Bharat. And you know what is the first painting? The first painting is of a teacher, a Gurukula, where the teacher, a Rishi, is teaching, students are learning, cows grazing. This country is not just we talk about teachers, we often, in the transactional world, we lose the whole essence of it. They have created this country, this Rashtra. When I say country, it's by nation, it has to use the word. Essentially, it is a Rashtra. I would love to use it. This is the power of a teacher. Guru. We used to be taught in our childhood. Kabir, you must have heard, many of you, a great mystic, poet and saint. He used to say, Guru Govind dono khade kaku lagi paye, balihari Guru apno jo Govindi vada. If the teacher, if the Guru and Govind, God, both are standing side by side, who do I bow first? I bow to the teacher, the Guru, because it's the Guru who has made me understand what is Govind. I do not know Govind. When we do the prayer, it's Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara. This Guru transforming into teacher has made it transactional. And we have lost the values. I think it's time that we must realize it. And we must restore the glory. And this responsibility is, of course, it is of the society, but it's Guru. It is the teachers who lead it. You know, this, over such a long period, 100 years of, almost 200 years of colonization and the system, when the British came, the first thing they did was to destroy the indigenous education system. When I was a student, in my village, the teacher was not only, he was the last word in the village. Whatever he said, nobody has to question. Guruji had said, forget about it. There is no argument over that. Teachers, he was so connected with every family, every child's family. We know that we used to have a rotation. The teacher hardly used to charge anything. Of course, people didn't have money also, but the teachers were also not that. It was not a consumer-driven world. We used to, a day will come in a month or sometime more than a month, when right from the morning to the evening dinner, I have to look after my teacher. I have, as a young student, I have right from the morning, when my teacher is to take bath, I would go to the well, pull the water from this well, bathe him. He leaves, he changes clothes. I used to wash his dhoti and dry it. That was, we did it with pleasure. Guruji ke liye kar raha hai. Guruji. You know, that was the bonding. It's not that today if a teacher is a little harsh on a student, the parents will come with all kinds of things and accusations. This is, I don't know where we are. Perhaps we have lost a lot. We need to restore that. We must remember and restore the glory of being a teacher. Challenges are many today, especially when some of you ask the question about how the technology, how this new technology is coming, how. Because when we, at the level of a school, you not only impart knowledge, you also impart values. And you also impart training how to acquire knowledge. In our Indian system, Bharatiya Parampara, in our Indian system of learning, we always used to say, our teachers used to say in the earliest stage, in the school, that learning has 3 stages. Adhyan, Manan, Chintan. Adhyan is a study. You are reading a book, listening to the teacher. This is Adhyan, a study. This is not enough. Not enough. Manan, you have to think over it. Think over it. And try to understand. Even Manan is not complete. Knowledge is not complete. After that, you have to do the Chintan, that expand it to the larger. And you find that every knowledge which is taught in a particular context, invariably it has universal application. You will see it much larger frame also. I say when you pass through the 3 stages, that becomes your knowledge. That becomes the Jnana Jnana. Adhyan, Manan, Chintan. Not that you do something and you learn, you read it and you wrote it through rote process and produce it. Or mechanical